The new era of leadership has to do with enrolling people in a vision or an idea, because you're not going to be able to command them to do that. And also, you need all the resources of everybody involved in an organization. So to be able to spark possibility in each of the people who work with you gives you all of them, gives you all the resources of every person.
That's right.
Everybody can make a difference from any place that they're sitting, from any role in an organization. They've been thirsting to feel about themselves that they can make a difference. All of us have encountered being stopped in something when we wanted to contribute in some way and somebody stopped us. And we then were cautious about the next thing we said. And you know, you get a few of those and it's pretty ingrained. So now people look out and say, I have to really, really, really get to know somebody before I'll trust them. Nonsense.
The little old ladies, the one who like classical music, they're all dying out. There's not going to be an audience. That's a downward spiral conversation.
If you think about how we talk, we're generally talking about what's gone wrong and what ought to be fixed. It's a conversation of no possibility, the downward spiral. It doesn't lead you anywhere.
You see it in the stock market. Of course, you also have upward spiral on the stock market. Upward spiral and downward spiral are the same thing. Right? Wherever there's a winner and a loser, you have downward spiral thinking and talking.
As soon as you notice that you're talking about what's gone wrong, what isn't right, what needs to be fixed, how they're wrong and you're right, you're in the downward spiral. The passageway out is to think possibility. It's to move forward and say, what do I want to have happen?
And we all know the feeling of radiating possibility. It's that excitement, that energy, the feeling that we're all in it together, a sense of awe, a sense of beauty. In the place of possibility, our eyes shine. I had an amazing discovery when I was about 45. I'm a little embarrassed at how old I was when I made this shattering realization, but I'll tell you what it was. This is what I discovered. The conductor of an orchestra doesn't make a sound. He's the only musician who doesn't make a sound. Right? So he depends for his power, and his power is very great, and his picture appears on the front of the record jacket in various poses. But he depends for his power on his ability to make other people powerful. That was a phenomenal realization for me, because I realized that my job was to enliven possibility, awake possibility in other people. And when I got that, I, of course, began to be very interested in how effective I was in doing that. And the only way I could think of doing it was to look at the eyes of the people in the orchestra around me. And if they were lit up, I could say, great, we're doing it. And if they weren't, I got to ask myself a question. Who am I being that the eyes of my orchestra players are not lit up?
Shining eyes is our image for the spark of possibility having been caught. So that person is enrolled in a new vision, and it's something for themselves. So it's the sense of possibility in the world where there was none before.
If you truly live the radiating possibility, and I mean in every way, it means the way you greet people, the way you walk, the way you play, the way you talk down the telephone, you then start noticing the miracles that occur when you are. It's really amazing.
Well, I suppose my expectations were it was going to be sort of like a general lesson, you know, where they go over your technique and take your phrasing bit by bit. What he did is go the exact opposite way. You know, instead of being, you know, this is how we're going to play it, it was just, okay, let's let the music come out and let it soar.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Wonderful. Excellent. Well, this is a wonderful, wonderful cellist, absolutely fantastic player. It's a real pleasure to hear you play. What kind of music is this, Sarah?
It's a dance.
It's a dance, exactly. It's a dance. Did you notice anybody with an irresistible desire to get up and dance as you were playing?
No.
No, you didn't. Okay, right. I didn't either. And I think it may be because, glorious though your playing was, you tended to put an
I
impulse
cannot play their
on
instruments.
almost every beat.
They have to
So
play.
it's beautiful.
They will play very well in a state of domination, but if the focus is on the players and the extent to which they are transformed, the extent to which they are enlivened, the extent to which their eyes are shining, that is infinitely more satisfying and rewarding, and in the end, I believe, effective than the other way of dominating people to follow the will of the leader.
Good. If you can really make that first beat, yada-dum, give it a big, big impulse. If you can throw it to me right to the back of the room. Here, I'm going to catch it. Now, put the notes in between. Beautiful. Did you hear that? It was gorgeous. That was wonderful. Beautiful. Do that. Could you do that with one buttock? And then it goes to beautiful. And that was so beautiful we want to hear it again. Finish. Yeah, it's really beautiful. There's one thing I think you forgot. Come here a moment. Come here with me. Come here. This is Michael. Michael has had a very, very tough week. Now, along comes Sarah with cello to remind Michael that life is great, okay? So that's your job, all right? Are you ready? So here we go. Yeah, but Michael is over here. He's not here, all right? So you really have to get him now. You have to give him this absolute clear message. Life is great. Here we go.
I think that is what great leaders do. They see new pathways. In fact, they make new pathways.
Emmanuel, he needs you so much.
This is about a very major transformation of our habits, a rethinking of what we do every day.
Please, Anne just lost her love.
I'd forgotten that I'd forgotten. Why did I devote 8 hours a day during my entire childhood to practicing this? It wasn't because my mother locked me in a closet. It was because, I sat down and I just couldn't get up because I loved it so much. And help me remember that. It's something that I think about I try to think about every time I sit down to play. It doesn't happen every time, but I made myself a sign that I look at when I practice. And, right before I practice, it's on my music stand, and it helps me remember. It says, remember to play your cello in a Ben Zander-esque manner. I'm trying to remember that my barriers don't have to be there. I, of course, wouldn't want to become sloppy or anything. I'm not going to stop seeking, perfection. Perfection is not to be gained at the cost of music.
All she has to do is mark that down on the paper on her music stand, and suddenly the whole experience comes back, the whole shift in being, which she experienced when Ben coached her into realizing that she's a conduit for the music. She'll never forget it.